So good evening everyone. This is Balaji. I'm Computer Science and Application Department. Today my topic is clustering technique. What is meant by cluster means? The cluster is one of the part of the unsupervised learning model. What is unsupervised learning means? There is no supervisor unable of the data to be trained to the machine. Then it's called as it is a unsupervised learning. The clustering is nothing but which is the similarities of the data element can be formed to the one group and dissimilarities of the data element can be formed to the another group. Then it's called as clustering. So the major clustering techniques are, the first one is a partition method, the second one is density based method, the third one is hierarchical method. So what is a partition method means? The partition method is also called as partition clustering, which is the given data set can be divided into the multiple parts. Then it's called as the partition clustering. So which is the dividing of the data is a non-hierarchical group. So what is a non-hierarchical group means? Which is that data can be formed into the not a tree structure. Then it's called as it is a non-hierarchical format. So the partition method or the partition clustering is also called as centroid based method. What is meant by centroid mean? The centroid is nothing but which is the main component or main element into the data set is called as is a centroid. So the partition method is also one of the best example for the technique is K-means clustering algorithm. In this type, the data set can be divided into the K number of groups. Here the K is nothing but the K tree defining group. Here K equal to 2, the 2 clusters will be formed, and K equal to 3, the 3 clusters will be formed. So then it is a predefining of the groups. If the cluster is used to, which is the distance between the data point to centroid or the centers, then it is will be calculated into the partition method. So it is the diagram for the partition method. So in this data set, so which is the centroid is this big circle of the triangle. The remaining all the plots is the data points, which is the nearest data point to the is a centroid to data point. These will be calculated from the partition method. In this partition method, the best example for the algorithm is K-means clustering algorithm. The next one is hierarchical method. So what is a hierarchical method means? The hierarchical clustering technique is one of the alternative partition clustering method. So it is a no requirement for the pre-specified of the number of clusters to be created. That is, so there is no number of clusters to be created of the is a hierarchical clustering is only like this tree structure. It is a hierarchical format of the data elements can be divided into the is a given data set. So these data elements can be divided into the tree structure. Then it's called as it is a dendrogram. So what is a dendrogram means? The bottom up approach can be classified into the given data set. So is any number of clusters to be selected into the low level to is a top level, then it is called as is a dendrogram. And these hierarchical clustering can be classified into the two parts. One is the agglomerative hierarchical clustering, the second one is diversive hierarchical clustering. So which is the passing of the hierarchical method? The best example for the agglomerative hierarchical algorithm. So it is a agglomerative hierarchical algorithm. In this diagram, which is the small circle is the small rectangle is the one clusters. These clusters will be combined to the another cluster and so on, which is all the clusters can be combined to the is a one big cluster. Then it's called as it is a hierarchical method. The third one is the density based method. So what is a density based method is a one of the clustering technique. It is highly density area into the clusters, like the arbitrary shape of the data elements can be divided into the given data set. In this data set can be divided into the is a low density area and the high density area. So which is the high density area into the clusters is called as sparser area. So these algorithm can be maintained by the various dimensions or various densities. It can be followed by the DB-scan algorithm. So the best example for the DB-scan algorithm is density based spatial clustering algorithm. It is an example for the density based method. So it is an example of the diagram. Here in this diagram, which is the plots can be divided into the three parts. One is the core plots, the second one is the outer parts, the last one is border parts. So what is the core plot means? Within the dimension area is called as core plots, which is the outer parts is called as the outlier or noise within the border of the plot is called as is a border plots, then it is the clustering techniques. The first clustering technique partition method example is a K-means clustering algorithm. Hierarchical method is the hierarchical agglomerative clustering algorithm. The density based method is followed by the it is a DB scan algorithm. Thank you.